Madam Speaker, I think it is very important that when incidents like this occur, which outrage the conscience of the nation because of their depravity and the depths to which they indicate human beings have sunk in perpetrating horrendous acts of violence against innocent people, it is important that we speak as one voice, as leaders in the country, to indicate a resolve to tackling these things in an effective way. There is a danger, of course, when these things keep happening over and over many years, that people become cynical about statements like this. But nevertheless, I agree that it is important that we send a signal that this is not a normalized situation. This is not a situation which will ever be treated as normal, as run-of-the-mill, or in any way other than one which is deserving of the firmest response and the highest level of opprobrium in condemning it. Now, one aspect of deterrence, which I think is worth bringing to the attention of the House, was, I think it was in 2015, where there was a crime of extreme violence against innocent victims. I think in that instance, women and children. The then Prime Minister had asked me to prepare legislation to provide for a significant increase in the penalties, in the terms of imprisonment applicable to persons convicted of crimes of violence against women or children. And two bills were brought to the House in December 2015. They were fairly short bills, but with the dissolution of Parliament, which followed fairly soon after that, they fell off the order paper, and they have never been brought back. But I would say to the Prime Minister and his government, this is something which could be fast-tracked. That work was already done, and in terms of an immediate response to impose a significant penalty or array of penalties on that particular type of activity, which is, I think, something which the nation as a whole would uniformly feel warrants that kind of response. It would be worth doing that quickly, and we certainly would support quick action in that regard. Prime Minister, in terms of the security measures, I agree that the policy and protocols relating to how children are monitored when they are leaving school in particular is an important area that requires some additional attention. As you have said, there's a variety of practices. There are some schools where in order to collect a child, there has to be clear permission or authority from the parent or guardian of the child. In other schools, children make their own way home. And how we deal with that needs to be sensitive to the realities, the socio-economic realities of the country. But there are situations where there are clearly heightened risk, and it is important, I think, that the police in particular be sensitive to those heightened risks and perhaps coordinate with the affected school to ensure that in those instances measures are taken that would protect a situation arising such as what happened last week Thursday. So I think this is a teaching moment for us, and we must use it to achieve better results in the future, but with a common voice, a common sense of outrage, and a common resolve to finding ways to solve this problem and to get Jamaica out of a place where our children can be subjected to such heinous acts of violence. As a father, a grandfather, I feel the pain expressed in the House by my colleagues and among the wider public. I visited Brayton Primary yesterday as well, spoke with teachers and principal and students, and you know, it's not the first time that I've had to do that. And it's always a very saddening experience. I would love that to have been the last time that I have to go through something like that, because we have managed to move beyond the situation where these things happen. Of course, it's not just going to be words that achieve that. So it is a question of what effective action can be taken. But between legislating for deterrence and putting measures in place to improve the monitoring of the situation around school gates and public buildings and so on, and also using intelligence where there is a heightened risk factor at play based on what may be happening in the court system or anywhere else, and using that intelligence to ensure that measures are put in place to forestall or prevent a situation of vulnerability from being exploited by a villain. We should try and get to that point. But I would just say that this is something on which we have to express a common cause and a common sense of outrage. And I think the House has done that this afternoon. And I thank the Minister for having initiated a statement that has enabled us to do that today. Thank you.